Hi, this is Sriyank Siddhartha and welcome to another video on Kotlin fundamentals. Well, it is generally seen that developers face a lot of difficulty while dealing with the scope functions. So in this video, we will explore what are scope functions, what are the types of different scope functions, what are the differences between those functions, most importantly, when to use them, where to use them, and how to use them in your program. And in the end, I will summarize the video in the simplest possible way which will add more sense to your understanding. So stick to this video till the end. Let's get started. Well, there are basically 5 types of scope functions. They are with, let, run, apply, and also. So before we explore them, let me show you a gist of how these functions add value to our programs. Suppose this is a class person with two properties, name and age. Now, in general, we would instantiate this class object as create a class person, assign values to it, like this. So I guess no doubt till now. But let's see the same code using scope functions and see the difference. So here we create the object and on that object we call the apply function. Well, apply is a scope function which is basically a higher order function. So in the lambda expression attached to it, we can write name equal to Sriyank Siddhartha, age equal to 26. So in the ordinary code, we have some code repetition, right? But here, using scope function, our code is more concise and more readable indeed. Just use the apply function and initialize the properties without using the object name. So in short, the scope functions make your code clear, concise, and more readable. Now, let us come back to our discussion from where we left. So let's explore these functions one by one in a step-by-step process. Now these 5 functions are closely related to each other. They are all quite similar in nature and quite often programmers get confused when to use what. So it is very important to understand the differences between them. Now the question arises, how do we differentiate between these scope functions? What are the criterias? Well, there are two main differences between each scope function. The first one is the way to refer to the context object, and this is done using either this keyword or by using the it keyword. I hope you are aware of these two keywords. The second difference lies in the return value of the function. Well, these functions either return the context object or the lambda result. Well, don't worry, we will discuss them what are they in our demo. For now, don't worry about it. So for with function, the return type is the lambda result. And the context object is this keyword, which refers to the object itself. To understand things better, let us explore a simple and sweet demo of with function. So here I have defined a very simple class of person with two properties, name and age. Well, I have given default values to these properties. And this is not the appropriate way to assign values right here within the class. But for the sake of simplicity, I have done it. Fine. Now, in the main function, I have here initialized the person object. And then I am printing the properties of the person object. And at present, the output of our program looks like this. So I guess no doubt till now. Now, in our existing code, if you notice, I am repeating the same person object again and again. Well, right now, the code looks okay. But imagine if we have 20 such properties and 10 functions that belongs to the class person. In such a case, there would be abundance of the code repetition. So let's see how to avoid it using the with function. So here I will use with function followed by parenthesis. And within this function, you need to pass the object on which you want to operate. Our object is the person object. And the second parameter is the lambda expression. And you can access this person object within this lambda expression using this keyword, for which the IDE is showing us the hint. If you use this keyword, then it will refer to this person object, right? So you can use print statement, then this dot name, like this. Similarly, you can print the age. Perfect. So I hope now you understand what it means when we say we can access the context object by using this keyword. And the term context object refers to the person object on which we are performing the operation. So please note this. Also, within this lambda expression, you need not use the this keyword even. For example, if you remove this from here and here, then your code will still work, because internally there is present this keyword over here, which even if you remove it, it is still there, right? So if you run the program right now, we are getting the same output as we were getting before. Great, isn't it? So now we can remove these two lines of code. Great. Now let us come to the second property. The return value is the lambda result. So what does that mean? Well, this with function basically returns a result. And that result is the last statement of the lambda expression. For example, at the end, if you write age plus 5, like this, then this value will be returned from the with function. That means here you can define a variable such as age after 5 years, which will be of the type of integer, equal to this function, like this. So this value will be returned and stored within this variable, which is of the type integer. And then proceeding in the program, you can use the value as per your wish. Nice and simple. You can run the program and see the output yourself. So here we go, age after 5 years is 31. Now, if you add a string at the end, over here, like this, then now this string is present at the end of the lambda expression. So this string value will be returned from this with function, right? So instead of this integer value, now the string will be returned. Therefore, we need to change this integer data type to string. And of course, you can change the variable name, which will make more sense, like bio. And now again, you can use the bio variable in your program. Run the program. So this is the output. Great, isn't it? So I guess now you understand the usage of the with function, and also you understand both its properties. So after with function, let's check out the apply function. Well, the apply function returns the context object itself, and we refer to the context object using this keyword again, similar to what we saw earlier. So let's check out how to use this apply function. So here I have modified the code. Here we have the class person with two properties, name and age, with some initial blank values. Now, in our program, after we create the person object, suppose we want to initialize the object properties. Then what we usually do, we just initialize them using the object name, right? But again, it leads to code redundancy. So Kotlin provides a solution to it. It provides you with the apply function. So instead of these two statements, we can just use dot apply over here, and within the lambda expression, we can use this keyword dot name to access the properties, and then assign the values, like this. So this clearly shows the property 1, that is, you can refer to the person object by using this keyword. And of course, within the Lambda expression, using this keyword is optional. So if you remove them like this, then also your code will work fine. Now, moving forward, what about the second property? Well, the apply function returns the context object itself. That is, this whole expression from here to here will return the person object we are creating. So here on the left, we can use val person equal to this expression, right? So we will get the person object which we can access using this variable person. Now, if this statement confuses you, then you can break it down into two statements, such as person.apply in another statement. So here we create the object and then we apply values to it, right? But generally in Kotlin programs, we don't use it like this. We use it within the same statement. Great. Now, once you assign the values to the person object, you can then use the with function, of course, to print the values. So I hope this shows you a clear picture of how to use the apply function and the with function. You can now run the program. So yes, here is the output. Moving ahead, let's check out the also function. Well, this function returns the context object, and you can refer to the context object by using it identifier. So let's see how to use this function. Well, this also function is generally used where we want to perform some additional operation on a particular object after we have initialized it. Let me show you an example. Suppose we create an object numbers list with initially 3 integer values, that is 1, 2 and 3. And then after defining our list, we have some other code, maybe a function call or a program to swap two numbers, in short, some other code. And then later, we decide to perform some operation on the numbers list object which we have defined here. Then in that case, we can use the also function. So right after this, suppose we perform a operation such as print the numbers. Then add a new number to the list, print the updated list, remove a number, then again print the updated list. Then in such situation, we can use the also function. So what we can do is we can use right here numbers list dot also function, and within the Lambda expression, just cut all the code from here and paste them right here. Great. And as per the property 1, we can refer to the context object, that is, we can refer to this numbers list by using it identifier. So instead of all the numbers list reference, just use it. Like this. And then you can remove the new lines as per your wish. Great. Now, if you check the property 2, it says that the returned object is the context object itself. That is, this whole function is going to return the object that we have created here, right? So on to the left, we can use val, a variable name. Let's call it duplicate numbers. Now, why duplicate numbers? Because these two variables are pointing to the same object. Let me show you the proof by using the print statement. Let us now run our program and see the output. So these are the print statements from the also function. And at the bottom, you can see both variables are pointing to the same object. How cool is that? So I guess things are now clear. Now, let us take another example where we can use the also function. So let us go to our code where we explored the apply function. So here we have initialized our person object, and then we are performing some operation by using the with function. You can assume this is some other code after we have initialized the person object, right? Now, right after this code, suppose if you want to modify the properties of this person object, or you want to perform some additional operation on this person object. So in that case, we can use again the also function. So we can use person dot also function, and then we can perform the required operation. I am going to modify the name property and print it like this. So this it.name is going to update the property in the original object as well. So this Sriyank Siddhartha will be replaced by Shreks from Smartherd, right? You can run the program and see the result yourself. And also this whole function is going to return the person object, which will be same as the person object pointed by this variable over here. So we can use val duplicate person equal to this operation. Great. But generally, while using the also function, we don't keep such reference if we don't need it, right? So let's remove it. I just showed you just to demonstrate you the property of the also function. Nice and simple. So I hope you understand clearly the use case of the also function. Moving forward, we have the let function. Well, let function returns the lambda result, and you can refer to the context object by using it identifier. Let's understand it better in a program. Now the let function has a lot of application, but I am going to show you the most important usage of this function. Generally, we use the let function to avoid null pointer exception, which is a nightmare for most developers across the world. Let's see how. Now suppose we have a nullable string variable name with the value initialized to null, and we want to perform some operations on it, such as printing the reversed string value or printing the capitalized string value, or it could be anything, such as printing the length of the name string. And here we need to use a not null assertion operator because we have the nullable string name, and once used you don't have to use it every time right after it. Like this, it will be redundant. So let's keep it at one place here. Now in case if this name variable has the null value, then due to this not null assertion operator, this whole statement will throw null pointer exception and our program will crash. Let us run the program and see the output. So here we go, we got null pointer exception just because we are calling the function reversed on a null value, right? So how do we use the let function to avoid such terrible mistake? So right here, all you have to do is just use name dot call the let function, and within the lambda expression, just cut all the code and paste it here. And as per the first property, we need to refer to the context object of name by using it identifier. So let's replace everywhere by it. Great. But if you run the program right now, it will still throw null pointer exception at this statement. So along with let, you need to also use a safe call operator. Now what is a safe call operator? Well, the safe call operator is represented by question mark followed by a dot. So after name I will use question mark followed by a dot. So this statement as a whole means that execute this block of code only if the name object is not null. Which means if the name is null, then these code won't be executed, thus preventing the null pointer exception. So here we don't need to use not null assertion operator, we can remove it. So now that we have taken precaution, let us run our program and see the output. So here we go, this time we have not got null pointer exception, just because the name was null, so these code were not executed. Great, isn't it? Now let us come to the second property. The return value is the lambda result, which means whatever statement we have at the end of the lambda expression will be returned from this whole function, right? So if we have it dot length over here, then this value will be returned, and over here we can use string length variable or any variable of your own choice to store this value, right? And then you can use that value in your program like this. So whatever you keep at the end of the lambda expression, it might be a string, it might be an integer, it might be a decimal value. It will be returned and stored in the variable defined over here. Now let us test our code. But before that, let's change this null to some valid string value, such as hello. Let us now run our program. So here we go, this is the reversed string, this is the capitalized string, and then this 5 is the result of the print statement which we have defined here. Now again, there are more use cases of the let function. But trust me, generally we use the let function for avoiding null pointer exception, which you can make it possible by using it along with safe call operator. So yes, that's all for the let function. It's time to go ahead and explore our last scope function, that is the run function. Well, the run function returns the lambda result, and you can refer to the context object by using this keyword. Now, there is something special about the run function. This function is actually the combination of the with function and the let function. Why I am saying this? For that, let's see the code in action. If you remember, initially in this video, we explored this code while exploring the with function. Here we have the class person, we created the person object and performed some operation using the with function, right? The code is quite clear. Now, if we make this person object as nullable by using a question mark over here, and instead of a valid person object, we assign a value of null over here on the right, then in that case, we must find a way out to prevent null pointer exception for this piece of code, right? Now the best possible solution to this challenge is to use the run function. So using the run function, you can perform what this code was earlier performing. And along with this, you can also avoid the null pointer exception without writing any extra code. So that is why we say the run function is actually a combination of the with function and the let function. So if you want to operate on a nullable object and at the same time avoid null pointer exception, use the run function. Now to implement the run function, all you have to do is just use the person object and call the run function. Within the lambda expression, just copy this code and paste it here, like this. And just like let function, here right after the person object, use the safe call operator. So the safe call along with run function will make your code null safe. And that is it, you are done. And similar to the with function, the run function as well returns the lambda result, which you can find in the property 2 of this statement over here. So for this run function, this statement which is present at the end will be returned as the lambda result. So here on the left we can use val bio equal to this statement. And yes, of course, there is some duplicate variable over here, so we can remove this old code. We don't need it. And also we can remove this statement. Perfect. So this statement will be returned and stored within this bio variable, which we can print it here. And at the end, we can replace this null by a valid person object. So yes, that's all for the run function. So we have come up a long way to understand scope functions in this video. And as a beginner, if you are feeling jumbled or confused about when to use what, then I don't blame you for that. Choosing scope functions at right place is bit tricky. So let's summarize this video and give you a big picture of what we have learned so far. Well, you can use with function if you want to operate on a non-null object, like we saw in this video initially. Then you can use let function if you want to execute a lambda expression on a nullable object and avoid null pointer exception. Next, use run function if you want to operate on a nullable object, then execute the lambda expression and also avoid null pointer exception. Now this statement is equivalent to the combination of these two statements. So that is why we say the run function is the combination of the let function and the with function. Moving on, you can use apply function if you want to initialize or configure an object. Fine. And finally, you can use also function if you want to do some additional object configuration or operations. So anything additional comes using also function. So in future, whenever you feel confused about when to use what, just revisit this part of the video. Things will automatically get sorted. So I hope you had a great time learning concepts in this video. This is Sriyank Siddhartha signing off. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.